The comments and opinions of the hosts and guests are their own and do not reflect those of their employers, friends, families, or casual acquaintances.
The following program is brought to you in living color on A2B. Hello and welcome to Swim Talk on A2B Radio. Come join us as we dive into the exciting world of competitive swimming with coach and athlete interviews, conversations with interesting and significant people in our sport, and commentary that is better than good. It's adequate. We'll get underway right after this. This episode of Swim Talk is brought to you by EddieReesBook.com, the official website of the Amazon 5-star book, Eddie Rees, Coaching Swimming, Teaching Life. Available on Amazon, EddieReesBook.com, and fine bookstores everywhere. Our episode this week is going to kick off with a return engagement for one of our favorite people to talk to. Bob, why don't you tell us who we've got on the line today?
Well, it's our good buddy, Patrick Henry. And since the last time we talked, Patrick's been out on the road a couple of times. It's pretty exciting. So we're going to talk to him about his business and also about trips he's taken that turned into some pretty neat coaching experiences. Good afternoon, Pat.
Good afternoon, gentlemen. Great talking with y'all. You guys are two of my favorites, and I look forward to seeing y'all anytime. So this will be fun.
Tell us what you've been up to.
Before you dive in with that cannonball, tell us what the business is.
My business is called Swim Coach Staffing Solutions. Coaching high school and coaching club for 40 years here in Texas. As I retired from the ISD world, Eddie always preaches to us that everybody's got to give back. He's told me many times, you can't take it with you. You got to give it back. So I started this business helping teams find coaches, helping coaches find teams, getting the right people in the right positions is what we do, kind of a headhunter work specifically for swim coaching. And then beyond that, we also do temporary intern coaching when they lose a coach mid-season, because typically when a team loses a coach mid-season and you're trying to find a good quality coach, well, all the good quality coaches have jobs. Well, to find a coach, literally hire the first person you get because that's all that's out there. So right. I started a business where it's like there's quality, certified, experienced coaches who aren't working right now by choice, so that when this happens, we can step in and help teams out. Because the bottom line for everybody who's ever been a swim coach is keeping the kids in the water. It's all about the kids. It's not about me. It's not about you. It's not about the parents. It's about keeping the kids in the water. So if I can do this and help teams and keep kids in the water, that's a win-win. I started it in January of 2020, right before COVID hit. And that whole first year, I had about 5 different teams come up and talk with me and ask for a contract. I'd write the contract up. And then right at the last minute, they would go, these COVID rules are changing every week. We have no idea what next month is going to bring. So we're going to just hold off. Understand the uncertainty is your biggest fear. One of the things I used to always do and still do is that when I see somebody who gets a new job, I will contact them and congratulate them, just talk to them a little bit and tell them about my business. Well, I happened to do that with a new hire at SwimMAC. I think she was hired in about October. December 23rd, I get a call from her and she's like, remember we were talking about what you were doing? I go, yeah. She goes, explain that to me again. So I explained it to her. We had several conversations, and then Christmas came and New Year's, and I get a call from her, and we eventually closed the deal December 31st. But the problem was she wanted me there January 8th. Wow. So we flew home. I jumped in my truck and drove to Charlotte, North Carolina to be the interim senior lead coach for SwimMAC. And I walk out the first day and I look in the pool and I'm going, I'm not used to seeing this in the water. I mean, these guys were amazing. I got 40 kids I'm coaching, senior 1 and senior 2. And so it really challenged me as a coach. And it was invigorating to be on top of everything. I found if you talk too much, they just tune you out. But if you just talk very strategically, you can really do some great things. So that was a lot of fun. It was really good. It was challenging. I got to sit and talk with one of the great swimming minds in this world, Kathy McGee, someone I look up to greatly, because I was basically coaching her group that she developed these kids. And so I would sit down and pick her brain every day for an hour, hour and a half. I finished up my time there, and Chuck came in and we handed off to Chuck, and I drove home to Texas, and I was just relaxing in Texas and having a good time. And another place that called me and was looking for me to come do an interim job. It was a university, and their athletic director in charge of swimming recommended me, but the head athletic director went with someone else, which was fine. That opened me up to go to New Trier in Chicago. So I drove up to Chicago. We're on the north side of Chicago. Where I am is gorgeous. It's Winnetka, a really nice area north on the lake, just beautiful. And a really great team up there, New Trier. And they had a water polo group as well. I got to be good friends with the water polo head coach, and we got to be great friends. And, I coached the coaches. I coached the kids. Their coach left on November 15th. And so I started on November 14th. And then we ran a big national search, and we ran interviews for the first and second interviews, and then handed off to the board of directors, the top 3, with a bunch of data on all of them. When we vet people, we don't just look at their resume. We look at where they've worked and call friends of ours that we know. We vet them in ways that you cannot manufacture. This is real data. And so it really opens the door to us. And they hired a great coach. His name's Chris Wolford. He was at Cincinnati for 17 years and built them into a powerhouse when they weren't. When he got there, there were 150, 170 kids when he got there. When he left there, over 500. They had 1 junior. And he's just a super guy. He got kind of out of coaching, and he did some sports developmental stuff for the LSC in South Carolina for a couple of years. And through COVID, got back into coaching. He applied and got the New Trier job, and he will do a fantastic job. There's a great staff up there. I had a lot of fun. Then I drove home, and I've been home. We did some headhunter work, filled Chelsea Piers, which is a very high profile team in Stamford, Connecticut, just outside of Manhattan. It was a really interesting job. We met with them for about 9 hours because they wanted an exact niche of personality that we had to find. We got them the right people. Kate Douglas swam there. The Walsh twins swam there. Great coaching, great people. I mean, I really enjoyed working with them, but they were very demanding, and it was great. I gave them status reports every week on what we're working on, what we're doing. And
cool.
We had great communication. Everything went spick and span perfect. It worked out. They hired a great coach, Matt Hurst, who was he was an assistant coach at Penn State, and he's there and doing a great job. And I'm real excited about that. I just signed a contract about a week ago with a team in Austin called Waterloo.
Yeah, I saw that. And they're the first thing. I posted some jobs on my blog today, and that's the first one up there.
Yeah,
there are a lot of jobs out there right now, so you're going to have to work hard to find something.
God, are you kidding me? My phone is blowing up. This is a plum of a job. For New Trier, we had 9 candidates that we whittled down to 3 that we handed off to the board. For Chelsea Piers, we had 18 that we brought down to 4. This opened up just a day or 2 ago, and I've already had, I think, 11 hard copy applications, and I've talked on the phone to at least 5 or 6 more quality coaches. It is a great opportunity. They own their own indoor 50-meter pool. They built a separate teaching pool facility that they run. Mike Verroza's the general manager, owner. He's got an incredible business mind. He runs it in a very business fashion. He's worked for Dell for a long time. Incredible professional, great business mind, incredible opportunity, no board of directors. Coach,
we're going to come back to that in a minute. I'm going to ask you about those models when we get further into this.
Yeah. So this is what I'm working on now. And I've been working on it this week. We started blasting out stuff Monday afternoon. We have several different proprietary ways that we advertise things. My partner, Doug Fonder, is the executive director of International Swimming Coaches Association. But we have a database of swim coaches' personal emails that we haven't blasted out to yet, but we will. I just like to kind of go slow so I can track what's working, where it's from, LinkedIn, Facebook, USA Swimming, wherever. I'm able to kind of track where I get the applications, where they saw it, which gives me more data. It helps me be more efficient and effective with what I'm doing.
Well, let me get into some specifics here. One focus of your business, as we just talked about, is to find interim coaches for programs with immediate but short-term needs. And when you get a hold of this issue with these folks, do you set a minimum time period for that interim coach to work through the end of short course season, for example, or X number of weeks or months?
Yeah.
Are they going to pull the rug out from under that interim if they find somebody they really like and say, hey, 3 days later, we found our man, goodbye? You must have to set some sort of a minimum period, right?
When they're calling and talking with me, they're serious and they're in trouble. That's not even an option. They're so into what we're doing, how we're doing it. I talk to them a lot about what's going on and what they're doing and get a lot of history. And I talk to the coaches. And the first thing I do when I get there is I sit down with the coaches and I figure out what they've been doing. Because my philosophy is I'm not going to come in and change the program the way I would do it if it was my program. I'm going to go in and I'm going to look at what they've been doing and I'm going to tweak it a little bit to my personality, but the base of it and the foundation is going to be virtually unchanged. Then I'm going to add stuff on streamlines, add breath control, turns, underwater kicking, along with keeping their training and just adding 10% more. Actually, one of my assistant coaches up in Chicago, he was telling me that he said that everything that you do, you take what I do and then you just tweak it 15 to 20% harder. And you just hold them to that and you ask them and hold them and they rise to it. The kids are in turmoil too. So I'm a new guy. They don't know me. So I come in and I just try to very calmly, I watch a lot. I start talking to them. I start joking around with them and then I start showing them some stuff and some skills to build their confidence. And then we go. But they're going to get a new coach in a couple of months. And so I'm not going to go in and have them change everything for me and then change everything when the new coach comes in. So I don't do that. We pick a date. In fact, we sign a contract on, I'm going to be there until this date and I will have them a new coach by that date. And so,
that's what I was getting at.
Yeah. If I leave early, if they send me home early, that's fine. They're still paying me to that date. That's never really been a consideration because everything they're going through, now they've got somebody they can lean on who understands swimming. He's been a head coach for 40 years. He can keep the team running in a competent manner. Even if he doesn't know the nuts and bolts, you know how to run a team, you know how to run a business, and you know how to coach kids. Till I get him a new coach in, and then I go home.
Well, as an interim, you got several priorities, right? You got athlete retention, staffing, high quality programming. That's just a few of them. But when you took some of these interim positions in the last couple of years, you had to also deal with what you just mentioned, not only the coaching priorities, but you're responsible for helping those teams get the new coach. And tell us about that juggling act, how you were able to, two jobs at once, basically.
It's a real compartmentalization. We went down to Florida when I was in New Trier for NCSAs. I was also coming to the point of when I needed to get the names to Chelsea Piers because we had been going through those interviews. And so literally when I'm in Florida at a hotel room, we've got 18 people we have to do the second interviews for and then analyze it, write it all up, finalize it and send it to Chelsea Piers. And so between prelims and finals, I've got anywhere from 2 to 4 interviews set up that we're interviewing them, videotaping the second interview and doing all that. And you just, where normally you go back to the hotel and take a nap. Well, that wasn't quite an option. So guess what? You don't take a nap. You got some work to do. So, it's just about thinking things through. I've got a great partner I work with. Doug is just amazing. He's a great guy. And we play off each other like you guys do. So like when he's asking questions, I'm writing down what the guy just said, and then I come back with my question. And so it allows us to kind of play off each other and keeps the ball rolling. It's a lot of work, but I really enjoy it because I'm going to Chicago for 4.5 months. I could kill myself energy-wise for 4.5 months. Then I'm coming home and I'm going to play in my yard, cut my grass, play with my garden, but I know that I've got a finite set. So I ramp it up and I'm on power drive all the time. because I have to. They deserve that. They get my very, very, very best. I may be exhausted when it's all over, but that's okay. I got a contract to serve and I kill it through the contract, and then I'm done. I tap out. You got to be thinking a lot. It's a lot of, you have to really understand the big picture and that it's not about me. And I got to keep my ego in check and out of it, because there are things that are done and said that your ego may get bruised. And I don't have that luxury. I've got a job to do, and I've got to do it really, really well. And I coach the coaches up. I coach them on my skills. All my coaching staffs I work with, like at SwimMAC and here, they become my friends when I leave. I'm still in contact with most of them. And we talk about just different things. As you guys know, I do things a little quirky and use plays on words with the kids and get them laughing, working on drills and different things. And they pick up on, start doing some of that stuff. And then we just start talking about that. I'm helping, I'm giving back, I'm making a difference. And that's what I'm here for.
Well, here's a way you can give back right now. There's it's kind of a revolving door at some places, and musical chairs sort of thing right now.
In this segment, Patrick gives us some good pointers on how to start off in a new position, and also how to develop good relationships with swimmers that are so important in helping them be successful.
What did you learn in these couple of interim jobs that's going to maybe help them in the transition? Maybe some do's and don'ts for people stepping into a new job.
Don't move too fast. Watch and listen before you speak. The first part of the time you're there, be very judicious with your verbiage and your opinions. Find out the baseline. Find out what's going on. Find out the story behind the story. Something I've always told my assistant coaches forever is that they have to know how much you care before they care how much you know. So don't come in and be the I got all the answers guy. You may have all the answers, but don't be that guy. Come in, talk to them. I like to talk to the kids and make some connections. One of the kids worked at a pizza place that actually, Dana, you mentioned it, and I love that place. One of the girls worked there. And so I was always just talking to her about pizza and this and that. And, just make connections before you start making demands. And you go a lot further when they trust you, and they can only trust you if you talk to them. Not at them, talk to them. The time out of the water, the time between sets is actually, especially early on, is more important than the sets you're doing. It's the dialogue. It's the building the trust. It's the understanding what's going on, because they don't know me from Adam. Trying to find ways to just get one or two, talk to them about their interests or what they're doing or what car they drive, and just find some connections. And that goes a long way, because when you've got a short period of time and you got to get some stuff done, you got to get some connections going so you can build off that. And if you just come in and you're like, I'm in charge and here's what we're doing, that may work for some, that doesn't work for me. I got to get some, it's all about the kids. Put the kids first, talk to the kids, listen to the kids. Don't talk at them, listen to them, tell them stories, make them laugh. And it goes a long way. It really does.
I'm glad you got a chance to eat at Lou Malnati's Pizza. That's some of the best I've ever had. You've had two great interim stints at SwimMAC and at Nutrier up in Chicago. Those are both large club situations. But what about colleges and high schools? Do you ever get any requests for help filling coach positions at that level? Because I know there's a big difference between institutions and clubs.
Yeah, it's a tough market to break into, and we're working on doing that. I actually helped a college team find some coaches, and I'm helping them do some background work to help them so I can list them that I have worked with colleges and placing some top coaches there. Now I have a little bit of an advantage. It's Yale, and I happen to know the coach.
Know a guy there.
I know somebody.
We're talking about Patrick's brother.
Yes, my youngest brother. And he swam at Texas. We went when they dedicated the outdoor Eddie Reese pool. my little brother Jim flew in, and my brother John was there. Dana, you know John from your Texas days. Afterwards, we're all around the outdoor pool, and it's just gorgeous, and we're talking and everything. And John's wife, Blake, just keeps signaling me to come over. And literally, she's like, I'm going to take a picture of Jim and John and Pat and Eddie. Eddie's talking to some people, and she kind of pushes us in, and we're standing there, and there's one other guy on the end, okay? And so he's in the first couple of pictures, and then she turns to him and she says, Scott, man, could you step aside for a minute? And then she gets this just amazing photo of Eddie and John and Jim. I'm okay in it. Great moment in time. I didn't think twice about it. She sent us all copies of it. It's sitting on our counter in here in the kitchen, and I see it all the time. It just warms my heart. It's just a great picture because Eddie being Eddie, and my brother John, who swam for him while he was on his first national championship team. Jim was on 3 national championship teams, and so it's just a great picture. That was a lot of fun, and he's meant so much to so many. And he's so selfless in so many ways. And literally, our phone conversations go pretty much the same way all the time. We talk family. We talk hunting and fishing. We talk health issues and health stuff going on. And then we talk swimming. That's Eddie. We're talking about family because that's how the conversations always go. Eddie answers the phone when you call him. He's that guy. He's not above the fray. He is that guy. And that's a credit to Eddie.
That's why they don't want to let him go. Compared to your Texas experience, okay, because you've worked a lot here, what differences or similarities did you notice, if any, in these programs? Carolina, Illinois, any big differences?
That's a great question. Illinois, are you kidding me? Differences. I thought I was on Mars at sometimes, simply because I get there and the top senior group is all guys. And I'm just coaching guys for about 2 weeks. And then they leave. And then I'm coaching just all girls.
Because the high school season split.
The girls' high school season just ended. And then all the guys go to training for high school. And so I don't see them at all. That's just really different. It's just a different mindset. You have to you have to just kind of get it in tune to what's going on. Fortunately, up there, the high school coaches were great. We developed a very good relationship. It wasn't an ego thing. It was a very easy to work with guys. They're fantastic people. So that wasn't the hard part, was just not seeing the boys. And so then right before NCSAs, the boys come back and the girls are so far more progressed because they've been there for 6, 8, 10 weeks. So now the guys are sloppy on their streamlines and their breathing, and the girls are tight, and the guys are starting over all the time, and they're getting ticked off. And the girls are going, if you just do it right, you don't start over, The girls are going, got this, and the boys are
just
going,
do it the way we're doing it.
But it forced the boys to raise their game in a hurry. And they did. And the results were phenomenal.
You're dealing with a mandate. They cannot work
Correct.
out. Now some states with a split season, let's say New York, where the girls' season and the boys' season is split, but they might be able to coach the kids while they're in their high school season. That's got to be pretty tough in Illinois, where you just don't get to see them at all.
You don't see them at all. And then compare that to North Carolina, where I don't think any of the high schools have pools. They rely exclusively on the club's situation. And so all of my top-notch kids really don't swim high school at all till the end of the season. And then they're not rested or anything because we're aiming for sectionals and Olympic trials and different things. And yet they can go to these meets and they swim some incredible times, but they just swim it at the championship part of the season. And the high school coaches are not full-time teachers. They're just someone who's a paraprofessional who's going to be coaching the high school team and takes them and then their season's over and it's all done. So that was a lot different too than what I was used to. Easier from a club perspective because you control the water, you control everything.
Hey, talking about the club operating models, the pros and cons, because you've seen them all. Parent board, coach owned, and government like school, county, et cetera. Dealing with the club, I know we're probably all leaning toward the coach owned, but there's got to be something good about each one of them, and probably something not so good about each one of them.
without a doubt, they each have their strengths and they each have their inherent weaknesses. Coach owned is good in most ways because you've got direction, you've got focus, you've got, things are all moving in the same direction. The downside is often that coach is coaching high school and doing other things and has a lot on his plate, and some things do fall through the cracks, but that is a good model if the right people are in place.
I think responsive was the word I was thinking of, and that's kind of the problem sometimes with the government, the school.
Government is everything takes time, and there is no, you can't get a check cut today. I get you one next Friday.
Right. I need tech suits ordered today. Good luck.
Not going to happen. And so the red tape bogs you down. The school district model is good, but it's only as good as your boss above you. When the boss above you doesn't care anymore, and the people who got it all in and going don't care anymore, then they don't care anymore. So they each have strengths, they each have weaknesses. When you find yourself, whatever situation you're in, you got to maximize your strengths and go with that. And you got to know when to play each card. And that just takes time. As I tell people, as coaching for 40 years, I'm like, I don't always know what to do, but I've often learned what not to do.
That's how we learn.
Why are you pointing at the clock? What do you mean we're out of time? That's the end of part one of our blistering interrogation of return guest and coach extraordinaire, Patrick Henry. We remind you that this episode has been brought to you by EddieReesBook.com, the best place to get your personal copy of the excellent book on coaching, relationships, and teaching life lessons through sport, and also a terrific chronicle on the life and career of University of Texas coach Eddie Rees. Join us for part two of our interview with Patrick, which we think is even more adequate than part one. We've never been better.